Hi, I'm Mark Conway, and this is Effortless Entertaining with Hestia Harlow. I'm joined today by Andrew Shortell, the man behind this incredible set that I'm sitting in front of, and the entire notion of what effortless entertaining is. Where did all this come from?
So the original idea, I think, was from listening to clients of ours who would be planning large events and then would want to do something in their home and didn't have a solution. Usually it would involve going to a rental company. It would be, organizing the catering, going and taking trips to Crate and Barrel, or, all the multitude of shops that you need to like pick and choose and get like a beautiful setting together for dinner that they were planning at home. So we thought about this and we were like, well, what could we do to try and fill that gap? And how could we create a product that was sort of spinning off of what we did as event professionals and doing and planning large events, to create this small scale solution for people to have these beautiful elements, plates, table settings and such in their own home so that they could entertain guests. And again, effortlessly. So it was just an easy as 1, 2, 3. They can click, see something, click, order it, and it shows up on their doorstep, and then they can set it up on their table.
Well, because dinner parties as a whole have become part of the culture. It used to be that dinner parties were for the more affluent. It was only for certain people, the upper echelon, the celebrity types and things like that were doing dinner parties. Well, now you're seeing dinner parties really widespread across the culture, and that's become not just a special event for a certain group of people. Now it's become Saturday night dinner parties. It's become birthdays have turned into something more. It's become parties have become something else. Now you have entire groups of people that meet monthly and have dinner parties where there's a different theme, there's a different layout. And when, just to your point, what you said is so many people before had to go to all these stores, try to source all of these different items to make these beautiful tablescapes, to have different chargers and plates and glassware. And that became not just pricey, but really difficult. You could only run into so many ideas before you started going, man, what do I do? And then they go to TikTok and they go to Instagram and they go to Pinterest, where Hestia Harlow kind of combined all of that into this one-stop shop where, as you're looking at, say, Pinterest of dinner table setting ideas, you can actually just go to hestiaharlow.com. You'll see those types of graphics, those type of images, and those inspirations, and they can just click and order the whole thing to the door.
Yeah, I mean, it's that easy. We looked at how we would approach this from the standpoint of entertainers ourselves. So we like to entertain at home, having the ability to be able to pick something beautiful for a specific theme and the number of people that you're going to be hosting, and having it show up and being able to, like Rent the Runway, it's a rent and return. You put it out, you set it up, it's beautiful, you use it, and then you send it back. It just became to us, it became really about making it fun for people and then giving them all these great options. So, you mentioned themes. I think it's trying to build on that so that you have things for the holiday season, the obvious choices, right? Things that are just times where people tend to gather around Thanksgiving and around the holidays or something like that. But then giving people the option to do date night. Could be for Valentine's. It could be for a special occasion like a birthday. So having these different settings and all these different elements and products that we can then send to you in a way that are easy for you to set up, with instructions and also helpful hints and ideas about, embellishing your table, whether you add flowers or do some other things to just kind of take it to the next level, was really important to us. So, I mean, it's really just we were listening to kind of what people were starting to want. And like you said, with all of this new sort of market of people wanting to do stuff at home themselves, I think COVID also kind of sped things up a little bit for what was already happening, because people were forced to be at home. And those first Thanksgivings, if you remember, like a year or so ago, where people were forced to try and do something at home, we realized that we were onto something. And I think that people really gravitated to the selections that we had. And last Thanksgiving, we sold out. We were fortunate that we were mentioned on the Today Show, and they did a little segment on us, and we sold out within days. So, we're just kind of now realizing the benefit and kind of just really fine tuning what we offer to the needs of what people want.
And you have a unique perspective on this because this is something you do. You and your family at home with your friends do these types of dinner parties. So what does dinner party mean to you?
Well, it's funny. We love to, I mean, like yourself, I'm a foodie. I trained as a chef when I first started out in this business and decided then I didn't want to take that route. But I love food. My family, we love to entertain. We have a lot of friends that love to do these types of parties. I think for us, the most important thing was finding occasions where people struggle. And I think, New Year's Eve, Valentine's Day, two occasions where people are always put in that position where, oh my gosh, for Valentine's, do I have to go out to this horrible dinner where I'm packed into a restaurant with lots of other people and it's not a great experience. So we started doing Valentine's at home, just the two of us, and then that led to inviting our friends over because they also felt the same way. We ended up doing a lot of really interesting themes, and we had all of our friends come and really just be wowed by like how easy it was just to set this up and be able to entertain 12, 14 people, and then, like I said, return it. So
what you've done here with Hestia Harlow is make it to where, regardless of where you are, regardless of what you have in your home, that what you have in your cabinets right now, the plates, the forks, whatever it is, and let's be real, a lot of us have a hodgepodge of 1,000 different things.
Yeah.
Nothing that would assemble to make a beautiful, elegant tablescape or dinner party. You've made it to where those people that have nothing at home can absolutely blow their friends away with a celebrity dinner party with a few simple clicks looking through your catalog, your offerings at Hestia Harlow. Now, how many offerings do you think you have at this point?
Well, I think they're separated into several categories, but I think we're up to over 30 collections, everyday collections of things that you could use, like the one that's in front of us, things that you could use for any type of occasion. We then have some things that are specifically designed for Thanksgiving, which really do kind of take on that fall flair and have some elements that really, just really scream Thanksgiving. And then, moving into like Christmas and Hanukkah and holidays like that, we have a few specialty collections that fit that need. But most of them really can be used at any occasion, like you said, from a birthday party to friends gathering to some sort of a celebration to a holiday. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because we designed a lot of these collections with certain things in mind, whether it being, okay, this is a very summer collection like the Amalfi, Adoro Amalfi, really a nod to the Amalfi Coast in Italy, a place that we love, that's near and dear to our hearts. And, that it's all about the food and just beautiful, vibrant colors. And it's funny to see people who have embraced certain collections and will use them at any time of the year. So we've had people that even into this fall and the winter renting the Adoro Amalfi, even though it's kind of not the summer, and you would think that that's when it would be used most. But, the other nice thing, you touched on it earlier, is that really this is meant to be effortless, but it also is for everyone. Mm-hmm. And I think you made a good point about those, entertaining in dinner parties and those sort of higher level of dinner parties were usually reserved for people that, whether they were more affluent or they just had the resources to be able to do this sort of thing, because it did get expensive to bring all of the elements together. Now we've given people an option that can be fairly, really inexpensive when you look at it on the sum total of as far as what we're providing for people. And so it's very approachable, I think, is the best way to put it, because people, whether you're young millennials, like, couples, let's say, that live in New York in a not a huge apartment, that want to invite a few friends over and have a great gathering, and they have some sort of a table that they can throw a tablecloth or even a makeshift table, but then they bring our plates and our china and our glassware and the silverware in, throw that on top, and all of a sudden it's an Instagram worthy moment. And of course they're just like, they're the celebrities now, because they have this beautiful table in their apartment in New York that they probably never could have dreamed of as far as putting together or getting themselves. So there are some instances like that where I think it really, really shines. And, we've had other instances where a family they had just purchased a new beach house and they had nothing in this house, and it was right before Thanksgiving, and they were like panicking because they're like, oh my gosh, we don't know where we can get the rentals or we can get all the stuff. We've got 12 people from the family coming in for Thanksgiving. And so what we did was, we worked with them. We put together a collection that worked for them, shipped it to them. They had a fantastic Thanksgiving, and with this beautiful, spectacular table for their family to enjoy. And it was so simple for them.
And I think that's the thing too. So many people struggle with this. I know, looking at what's sitting right here, I do not have the skill set to go, I like this with this, with this, with this, and with this. These packages are so curated with a thought in mind, with a creative flair, with a knowledge base to understand what things work together, because we've got different textures, we've got different patterns, but we all have, once they're together, this one cohesive, beautiful table, which, like you said, Instagram worthy, Pinterest, whatever it is, and you're not stressed with, how do I do this? Because if it's not already sitting together, I have no chance of putting together something like this. So that's another thing that really Hestia Harlow gives people, is that capability of saying, I love how all of this looked together like an image you saw on Instagram or Pinterest, and just make the click and it comes literally in a box, ready to go, instructions how to lay out the table. And then the best part of this, I think for me, is at the end of it, you pack it back up and ship it back out, and you're not going, where in my tiny apartment am I going to store all of this for the one time that I used it?
Yeah. Exactly. I think that's a big part of it is, these days we're living in this new society, in this new kind of environment where, not having to store things, keep things, buy things. I think we're moving to this new time in our lives where it's experiences. It's sharing those moments with families, with friends, and doing fun stuff, but it's not gathering all of the stuff that goes along with that. I mean, it's having those memories, but not necessarily cupboards full of china and glassware and things. And so I think that definitely is a key part of this. But going back to your part about the curation, I mean, our designers did a really good job of trying to think of all the different types of things, thinking about aesthetics of people's homes and what could work in variety of settings. But the thing that I think is most important to note is it's all about having fun. And I think we find that as much as we've curated these to a certain point, that they really, the colors, the textures, the tones all work together, we love to see people have fun with it. And there have been a lot of occasions where people have rented 2 different collections of 4 place settings for a dinner for 8, and then they've mixed and matched, and they've kind of had some freedom to kind of almost be their own designer, which we love to see. And then they'll post those pictures up on social and show people kind of how they took our collections and then created something of their own. It's even sort of led us to believe that we will probably want to, at some point, create a mix and match solution for people that they could like pick and choose different items and then be able to create and almost create their own selection. People have the option to be able to choose selections that work really well in the environment, whether it's their home that they're in. It could even be an Airbnb that they're renting for a special occasion that they feel like, we've done events and we've done parties for people that have rented our products at beach houses, and there've been Airbnb properties that they've gone down with for a family gathering. And we've rented collections that are like our, coastal collection that just were perfect. But there are sometimes people will rent a completely different, you'd think that they would go for the coastal if they're at their beach house, but they've gone for the other end of the spectrum. They've gone for something that's way more formal or, just a lot more colorful. So we love to see that. We love when people don't follow the norm or the path most traveled. It's fun to see people, again, have fun with this and try different things.
And that's another thing, these dinner parties that people are having today really do push the boundaries of what they're trying. You're seeing groups of people get together and cook. They have their own cooking challenges, and they want to really be able to pull off the whole shebang. So I like the idea of, say, ordering 2 sets. That way the 2 people that are cooking can kind of pair off with what they're doing. I think at the same time, and of course we can't always say, celebrities have used these and have literally curated entire dinners for their friends and big events in Hollywood using Hestia Harlow. So and then you've also have story after story that we've talked about before of just people who really wanted to give a special gift, say something like a Mother's Day. you can't be with your mom on Mother's Day, and you don't want to just send a gift card. That just feels so impersonal.
Right.
To where they could go on HestiaHarlow.com, select an entire dinner setting, send her not only the place setting, but you can also order food boxes.
That's right.
So you can send this beautiful dinner that, especially, we have things like COVID out there right now, so there are some concerns for our older set, that you can now send them the most beautiful, probably I would really beg to say, probably more beautiful, elegant dinner at home than they could get in any restaurant.
Yeah. Mark, you brought up a really good point. I think, with the way things stand now in this new realm of people entertaining, there are so many more people now that I think see the Facebook pages, the Instagram, they see people that are doing this. And like you said, it could be celebrities, it could be, just other people that maybe have the resources or just like doing it. For us, making it approachable, giving people this really great solution that they can have fun and do it. And one of the things that I think at the core of what we do, which is the most important to me, is not only to provide these products for people, but also as a service, give them the instruction, help give them the sort of the knowledge of, and almost the comfort of knowing that they can do a party at home. They can entertain, and it's not scary. It doesn't have to be, a nightmare to like throw all of this together. And people do stress about this stuff. So I think what's really important to remember is, we want to make it fun. We want to make it approachable. We want to give people these tools and have content and be able to have our experts talk people through the process so that they actually enjoy kind of having fun throwing their table together and mixing and matching or whatever it may be. And it just becomes this really fun experience from start to finish when they get the box, and it's kind of like Christmas. You get this amazing box and you open it up and you see all the good things that are in there. And then you have the fun of placing everything on your table, and you don't have to follow the playbook. You can kind of mix things up. You can move things around. You can change the way the setting looks a little bit. It's really, really up to you, and you can kind of make it your own.
Well, because we live in that world where so much information is right at our fingertips. We talked about Instagram and TikTok and Facebook and Pinterest, but YouTube. If you want to compare, if you want to create this amazing meal, cook this special dish, learn this new recipe, there's 1,000 videos to help you do it. But when it comes to setting the table and actually making a tablescape and making something that's beautiful and shows as much heart and as much interest and care as you put in the food, there's very little of that out there. There's this picture that says, look how beautiful this place setting I made, but no way to say, all right, well, you have to get this and you get this and you get this.
It doesn't tell you how to get from A to B.
Right.
It shows you that beautiful picture
of B. It shows you like
B.
Z.
Yeah, Z. Yeah, probably. It is that to that degree. But I think that what we're trying to do is help people along that path now and like give them these interesting little videos and things about setting a table and little things that you can do, and whether it's like just learning a few napkin folds or learning that it's okay to mix and match glassware. Like one of the things that we would do at our home is if we didn't have enough glassware, you kind of lean into it. You mix and match the different glasses, and now all of a sudden there's this kind of hodgepodge of glassware. But if it's done in a way that kind of you thought about it, it actually makes sense, and it's like, wow, that looks really cool. You don't have to have every glass be exactly the same on every place setting. So I think there are things like that that we're trying to kind of help people through and show them all these great ideas and things so that they again feel comfortable in doing this in their own home and actually want to do it more. Like I think there's nothing better than being able to have that feeling of entertaining people in your home. I mean, I think it's just a very basic kind of emotional feeling of being able to be provide hospitality to people and bring them into your home and share great food and conversation and just have them have this really warm, wonderful evening. So I think that's kind of part of the essence of what we're trying to do with Hestia Harlow.
And that's the thing, we've talked a lot about it so far. So while you're on your phones, while you're on your smart devices, look up Hestia Harlow on all the social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. give a follow, because you're not only going to see these incredible settings that you can have in your own home, you're also going to find out those opportunities how you can make that order. So Hestia Harlow on all your social media, and then also hestiaharlow.com. Now, as this company is blossoming, and there's been so many avenues in which Hestia Harlow has grown and where it came from, it kind of sprung from something that was a really hard hit with COVID. And it kind of grew out of that into so much more, to now you're giving people this honestly, this gift of being able to build their own confidence, to say, I can invite people into my home. I can bring people from my work. I could have my boss to dinner. I could have my significant other's family over, and have the confidence to really put out an unbelievable experience. Because I think that at the end of the day, just like food invokes memory, the events and the times we spend together with table or with friends and family around the table, those are those memories that you cannot buy. You can't click and order them from Amazon. You have to be a part of them. But what this does is sets the table, so to speak, to build beautiful memories with your friends and family.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you nailed it on the head. I mean, it's like, we are in the business, and it sounds kind of almost like that Hallmark card or whatever, but we are in the business of creating memories, and so many, different industries and different companies will use that kind of analogy, that, because I think they realize now in this sort of new realm of people, where we're at, they crave the experiences. Like before, I think there was a sort of that era within the US and around the world where it was gathering stuff. People just wanted to gather. They wanted to have the, all of the possessions and having the nice car or having this and having that. And it's funny to see now coming through COVID how it's really almost, it's accelerated the process. But people are really now looking at those experiences. People are forgoing having the bigger house, but now they'll have a smaller house, but then have vacation properties or different places that they can go visit and places, or even travel a certain time of the year and be able to work remotely and stay at different places for those experiences. And so we see where this is going, and we see that people crave these moments, these experiences in their home. And it really is one of the most basic things, right? Having food, like one of that sort of the dinner experience around the table with friends is something that's been, happening for eras. And like, I think that we have realized that we have a great ability to provide all these great resources and products and things to bring this into everyone's home, that they can share these memories and have these great experiences. I mean, we've even started doing cooking classes now. We're starting to do more of these food boxes, like you said. People are starting to use those as a gifting option. So we're trying not to get ahead of ourselves, because I would much prefer we really want to focus in on a few of those products and those pieces of the platform to really, flush those out and make sure that we really have all of the elements that people want before we start getting into new things. But there are so many elements that lead on from just the traditional dinner at home to many other things that you can do, whether it be away from your home and like traveling and having experiences sent to you so you can do it on the road is another piece of what we do.
And it's one of those things that there's something to be said for convenience. There's something to be said for ease. But there's a whole nother level to really consider when you talk about giving people something that just brings pure joy. And I know if you've ever been to one of these dinner parties somewhere and you were just blown away from start to finish, you're blown away by the food, the ambiance, the way the table's set, the way the things, you've watched them on television. I can't say any movie or television show that at some point hasn't had some beautiful dinner table set up with everybody around it. But now you can do that at home too. So that's why something like this became so prevalent and so vital to really give people those experiences and those memories. And again, don't forget to check out hestiaharlow.com. As we're looking into the coming months and the coming years, holiday seasons aside, each month there's fantastic opportunities to create something like this. And it's something that you can go in with friends. Because if you can order a shirt and pants online, you can order an entire tablescape online. It's easier to me.
Yeah, it really is. You know, it's funny. It reminds me of a story when you were talking about the different things and experiences and the memories. We have a client that kind of came on board. I think it was after we were on the Today Show, and she reached out and she placed an order for one of our kids' table settings. And that's another part of when I talked about like the different collections. This is a very specific thing of these really what we call half hostings. So they're really meant for the little ones, and they're just really fun, whimsical collections that you can do alongside an adult's dinner party if the kids are involved as well, or as a standalone. And we have this grandmother that is in the Midwest that got on our website, had found out about us, and ordered one of the collections. I think it was like the wild animal one. And she ordered it for, I think it was like 4 or 6 of her grandchildren. And they all come in once in a while. And through COVID, she had not been able to spend as much time with them. So she ended up throwing this party to bring her grandkids together and to see them. And that led then to a kind of a standing kids party that she would throw every month or two to bring all her grandchildren together so that she could see them. They were all fairly local, but you know, through COVID, hadn't really seen them as much. So she's like one of our, when I say best customers, she orders from us like literally every couple of months. And she chooses a different collection and kind of stylize it and add some things to it. But she has these wonderful little kids parties for her grandchildren, and it gives her the opportunity to be with them. And that to me is like one of the best stories, because it's not about, you know, necessarily a special occasion or a Thanksgiving type of thing where people they gather anyway and they get together with their family. We may just elevate that experience. But this was truly one of those stories where this lady has now used this as a vehicle for being able to get her kids together, and they love it because the kids want to see what she's going to do next, like, and see what the table looks like. So I think in that regard, it's been wonderful to see stories like that. And how it does bring people together.
It does. And so, you know, and you can reach out through the website or through social media, ask questions. We want to talk to you. So again, this is Hestia Harlow, something you should check into when you're looking for that next date night, which is a fantastic idea. You really want to impress a significant other? Throw not only just great food, but a beautiful tablescape that they come home to. And Hestia Harlow can take care of that for you. Andrew, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And there'll be more stories, ideas, and memories shared throughout the season of Hestia Harlow.